In July 1977, thousands of Somali troops marched into the Ethiopia-controlled region of Ogaden, a military incursion that was meant to mark Somalia on the map as the undisputed star of the Horn of Africa, but that instead only served the doomed nation for the next 40+ years. These are Somalia's final Utopian Index results. As essentially the poster child of state failure, the only surprise about Somalia's position on the list is probably just it not being dead last. Its only saving grace coming from its freedom score, which allows it to just about leapfrog Syria in the list. The higher score being attributable to some elections that are sporadically held in the country, which is nonetheless not much considering that universal suffrage is practically non-existent due to many regions being fully controlled by insurgents who are free to govern in any manner they please. This state fragmentation, attributable to the state's unprecedentedly weak standing, is encompassed by its state stability score, dead last in the pack. The problem stemming mainly from a dysfunctional post-colonial political order that would eventually lead to a 1969 military coup d'etat and the birth of a new regime led by a man called Mohammed Said Barre, who modeled his government based upon a mixture of left-wing and Islamist ideals. A model that initially produced some success that eventually emboldened Barre to pick a fight with neighboring country Ethiopia over a territorial dispute relating to a region called Ogaden, the resultant war serving as a harsh reality check for the country, as the military endeavor was firmly resisted and pushed back by the Ethiopians. A humiliation that caused repressed clan-based issues to boil to the surface, eventually shattering not only Barre, but Somalia as a whole, with the people of the Isaac clan being especially scapegoated within northern Somalia, tensions eventually culminating in a full-on genocide against the clan, and eventually a militarized secessionist movement that saw the region of Somaliland formally break away from Greater Somalia, the impoverished territory, often lacking in clean water and food, actually constituting one of the least fragile regions in the nation, as the rest of the country bleeds due to the scars of a nationwide 1981 insurgency that finally saw Barre deposed, but with a massive power vacuum left in his stead, thus producing a full-scale civil war and the rapid rises and declines of a series of governing structures that have experienced differing levels of success in controlling the country, which since the fall of Barre has almost always found itself fragmented between a series of insurgents. The most notorious group probably being Al-Shabaab, a jihadist military force that bears striking resemblances to other notorious organizations such as Al-Qaeda and IS, to their implementation of incredibly strict Sharia-based laws and scaled terrorism. The internationally recognized administrative body of today, the federal government of Somalia, ineffective not only due to these issues, but also due to widespread corruption that sees Somalia bottom out the transparency score rankings. The problem perfectly encapsulated by a recent report claiming that as much as 80% of withdrawals from Somalia's national bank were supposedly used for personal rather than stateful purposes. The corruption issue all the more dire considering the deprived economic state that Somalia, joined second to last in the economic score, finds itself in. The country desperately lacking in the basic infrastructure necessary for transportation, health, energy supplies, and more, with some statistics showing as much as half of the overall population to lack access to safe and drinkable water, and apparently as much as 4 out of every 5 children missing out on one of the 5 basic human needs. And in light of Somalia's lengthy struggle with state failure, it's probably not too surprising to learn that it also performs poorly in the state power score rankings with a dismal score of 0.002, which, albeit being Somalia's best ranked performance, is nowhere near as impressive when considering its size comparative to better performers. This has been Sean from Into the Ether. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and ciao!